Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, I got one from Jonathan and Courtney.
Okay.
Just wanted to drop you a note to let you know you both are very genuine and have helped my marriage.
Wow.
Say what? My wife and I have been married for 2 years, and even though we are happy, your lovely banter have helped me to communicate better to my wife and also helped me to leave my stress at the door and bring more laughter to our marriage. You two are incredible, and I'm proud to be a fan. Thank you for having the courage to shine and be real. Jonathan and Courtney from Kentucky.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
That's very
That's
sweet.
wonderful. You gotta laugh. As your mom says, you gotta laugh. Wow. Very true. I do want to, I'm doing this for two reasons. One, because I live and die by reviews. And two, because I'm like a little paranoid. This is kind of like when you send an email and they don't write you back and you're like, did it go through?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, it went through. They just haven't written you back.
Yeah.
But I'm a little paranoid that Apple is like withholding reviews or something.
Oh, it's funny. It does look like that. I before the show, I look at
Reviews.
the review situation. Yeah, it does look a little weird because the numbers versus the published reviews.
Yeah, it's not adding up. So I'm wondering if anyone's out there who wants to go throw down a review on Apple. I also love the little reviews on Spotify. But Apple specifically, I'm like really curious to see what the heck, you know?
You need someone to leave a review on
I
Apple
need
ASAP
that.
is what you're saying.
Yes.
Because you're not sure if just no one's left you a review or
Yeah.
if they're getting hidden. But this has happened before where all of a sudden one day we look and there's like 20 new reviews and we're like, what the hell?
I know, but this has been a really long time.
You guys hear that?
Just
Elizabeth can't sleep at night.
This other business is if you want to join our Patreon, it's patreon.com/nobody's listening right. We are going to be doing a live stream soon. We need to schedule that after this podcast.
Great.
And it's going to be a work-oriented live stream where we will answer all questions regarding our careers and also podcasting. If you have any questions about
There you go.
anything to do with podcasting, that's the spot. And I'd love to see you there.
Patreon.com/nobody's listening right. We also have a brand new website that we just launched. Go check that out. nobodieslisteningright.com.
That's right.
You can also find the Patreon right there because you could click the big old Patreon button right on there. But we're pretty excited about that.
Yes, we are shameless.
Shout out to the Duck Brigade
design
our
team.
Amazing design team that has held our hands for many, 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 many
For
years.
13 long years.
We love you, Andrea and Gabe.
Yes. Speaking of work, I did want to talk about, this is dangerous territory I'm getting into.
Okay.
You know, we're recording this when the strike has been going on nearly 4 months.
Yeah.
I think we're like 116 days in or something.
But who's counting?
But who's counting? Now it's like 117 really.
days,
but,
yeah.
you know, I'm having this weird thing happen, and I don't know if other people in the industry can relate to this. And I think it would mostly be writers because actors like are newly on the picket lines. But the latest in the strike is that there was all this excitement and hope last week because the AMPTP, who is the like collection of studios and networks, countered the original offer that we had countered. And then the WGA went back and countered that offer. And then they were told that the heads of the studios, so the actual people like Bob Iger and David Zaslav, wanted to meet with the WGA negotiating committee. And like good faith, the idea around it was like, let's finally negotiate this thing to bed.
So you thought, hey, things are wrapping up.
Yes. And I made a big announcement about like, I was going to have my last picket because I feel like I've put in so many days of picketing. Now, not as many as others, but also have kids and this
Why not
podcast.
say you've done more than anybody else? Why not?
Okay.
Well, I don't know why you did shortchange
I do
yourself.
want to shout out.
You've been out there a lot.
There have been a lot of people out there more than me, I feel like. But I've been out there.
Do you think there's anyone that's been out there every single day?
Well, the WGA captains have.
Okay, well, outside of the
Remember
captains.
Catherine Borrell?
Yeah.
She's out there every fucking day.
Man, God bless
Rain
her.
or shine.
Is she a captain?
Yes, she's a captain. Michelle Eibel's out there a ton. Gabe Liebman, I see him out at Disney, and he's become kind of a picket buddy. I hope he feels the same. Anyway, so long story short, I thought this was wrapping up. I made it. My agent came out like it was my final picket.
Yeah.
Because it's also, at the beginning, they needed bodies. I mean, there were gates at Disney that weren't covered. You have to have at least 2 picketers for it to be an actual strike. And
I should hope you have more than 2.
well, no, at some gates. I mean, sometimes at like the animation studios gate at Disney, that was the kind of gate I tended to go be at. There would be only 2 of us. And at some points, it was just moi. And if a delivery truck is coming up and there's just one picketer,
they'll drive through.
They can't like say, oh, it's a strike, so I'm not crossing strike lines. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Like if there's 2, they can go back to their higher ups and be like, listen, there was a strike, I couldn't go through.
Right, exactly.
Where if it's just like one cute lady, they're like they feel really bad, but they can't.
People
can't
don't
go
feel
back.
bad. I always wonder. I mean, like all the people driving in there, and I have to say, I've seen a lot of new Teslas going into those studio gates.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the summer of like if Tesla was doing some sort of like studio executive Tesla special, but lots of new Teslas going in. Anyway, I made this big show of this. Because I felt like if I didn't say it loud and proud, I wouldn't stick to it.
Yeah.
It's like, and I just felt like I had paid my service. Well, now I'm like, no, I'm going to have to go back out there. This thing might drag on for a while.
You blew your load too soon.
Yeah, and you know how that feels. Oh, I do want to come back to something, speaking of blowing loads.
Gross.
Blowing ropes. What's it called?
Throwing ropes.
Throwing ropes is the most wonderful and disgusting phrase. Throwing ropes is so gross.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to circle back to that. I have been in this weird funk. So what happened was all the studio heads came back, got the WGA all there, and then said, basically explained to them why their deal that the WGA has already countered is what they should take and they should feel happy with.
Okay.
And so it was bullshit. It was total bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like I didn't think this would get to me because I know strikes happen. I know corporations are going to corporationate. Like, I know that capitalism is going to capitalism.
Player's going to play.
Player's going to play. Hate is going to hate. But I'm like feeling very like, oh, I guess I don't matter. This was this business that
I've been trying to tell you that for years. And what an
strike.
amazing day. 116 days. Mark it on the calendar.
No, but this is a long way of saying I clawed and fought my way into this career.
Okay.
Almost more than anyone I know.
Love it.
Wouldn't you say? It took
Chutzpah,
me
hustle, chutzpah, grit, determination, all of it. Yeah.
hours
for sure.
on end. I mean, since I was
let's go bigger than hours. Let's
just
go way
sheer
bigger than hours.
Minutes, so many minutes.
Years, decades.
Minutes, decades. I never stopped. I was singularly
Can't stop, won't stop.
Okay. I was singularly focused on the goal of initially being a TV writer. Then the goal has become having my own show. Mm-hmm. That's like this summit on the mountain that I've wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And I've never been closer to that. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, and I don't know if it's just the strike, and this is a dangerous thing to put out there. I think just universe-wise, and also if people are like listening to this and we're thinking of hiring me.
Well, hopefully your agent's listening.
No,
hopefully...
I still really want to get hired. Like, hire me. I'm excited for all that, but like, I'm I never thought the flame for that goal has fizzled in a way that it's shocking to me.
I think what you're feeling, it sounds like this experience that you went through last week with the like, hey, the strike's almost done, so excitement, and then the rug getting ripped out from you. I think demoralized is one of the words some people might use.
Sure.
I think you're in the shock of that experience. I think it would be good to check in maybe in a week or two, before you tell your agent to, stop sending you out for stuff and change your phone number. You know what I mean? Before you leave biz.
I'm not leaving. There's nothing like that. I almost am curious to see, like, is this when I sell a show and make it because I don't care as much?
This is what I'm talking about.
No, but I'm not.
You're still in it.
No, I'm not though. I think I have an indifference to it all.
That's good. That could be good, actually.
Maybe it is good and maybe it's healthy, but I've always been just like hyper focused and it's one of those things I'm like shocked by myself. Okay, going back to throwing ropes, hanging the Christmas garland.
Hanging the Christmas garland?
Like if you were like jizzing on the tree in kind of loops.
God, work on your segues and analogies. Actually, it's a kind of great analogy.
Can we say like jizz is such a good word because it's...
I'm sure you've said it before.
It's like a think tank of people went off and were like, what's a word that's both like the literal creation of life and also human waste?
Splooge.
Well, splooge is also good.
But they were like, that's okay.
Semen's not good. Spunk is not good. It doesn't lean into the waste side of things.
Why do you use spunk all the time then? You're the mayor of Spunk City. This is news to me.
Wait, I wanted to bring this up. The thing I wanted...
So you're going to stop calling me Spunky Brewster?
Oh, gross. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay, listen. Someone commented, and these are the comments I love on Instagram. I think someone slid into our DMs. Slipped and slide on all that jizz. To tell me blue balls that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And you were a little squirmy during that blue balls. You weren't really landing the answers. You were kind of like, I don't know.
Okay.
And then you kind of gave this...
Take that as a badge of honor that you're not dishing out blue balls all the time.
Well, I'm about to come at you with some truth.
Great.
Blue balls has been debunked. It doesn't exist.
Just leave. Get out of here. Don't. You got an Instagram DM of someone being like, it's not real, and now you believe that?
Blue balls is not real. It doesn't exist. And it's part of the patriarchy. It's part of this like, oh, what? You're not going to finish it? Like, you started this and you're not going to finish it? It's so stupid. And I'm disappointed in you.
For what?
For acting like you know what you're talking about. When you were like, I don't really know. It hasn't even happened that often.
I was being completely honest. It hasn't happened that often, but I've definitely experienced the feeling of blue balls.
Okay, the Cleveland Clinic. It's not...
Oh, the Cleveland Clinic.
Well, that is a kind of...
A clinic? Is this a hospital? Is this did someone send you a link to one article? Do your research next time you make one of these bogus claims.
It's not bogus.
Before you start spreading fake news.
Or is it fake? Is blue balls real? Are blue balls...
That's a weird question. Is it real or... Oh, no, that is right. Or isn't that kind of a double negative? Is it real or is it fake?
Blue balls aren't real. This is in Cosmopolitan.
Oh, okay, great.
Honestly, they're not a thing. They never have been. So don't fall for this. You owe me an orgasm BS because you don't. The end.
Who wrote that? That sounds like a commenter on
Candace
Cosmo.
Jalili.
Is there an article about it?
Yes.
Read me a little bit.
Okay. And
don't just do a little bit because I might get blue balls.
Hang on. Here's what actually happens. You know how right before you sneeze, your body reflexively tenses up? And when you let it rip, you feel a sense of relief? A similar scenario happens in a guy's genitals when he gets turned on and then orgasms. Ejaculation is like that sneeze. I mean, I would argue that the same is true for women in orgasms, just like nothing comes out. I mean, also there's some controversy around squirting and stuff like that.
Next thing I know, you're going to start saying squirting's not real. Jesus Christ.
Ew, I hate that we're talking about this, but I brought it up. So the buildup is called the emission phase, during which jizz collects. I'm just kidding. It says semen. During which semen collects in the ejaculatory ducts within his prostate. If foreplay suddenly stops and he can no longer release the built-up semen, there is, and let me be super clear here, momentary mild discomfort. Repeat after me. Momentary mild discomfort. I mean, you walk around in heels, for crying out loud. I love this.
Who wrote this?
Cosmo spin on
Is it a doctor?
Well, no, but these are and then the rest is blurred out because I don't have a cosmopolitan.
But it's not, this isn't from a doctor?
Well, no, that was from a doctor, the whole description of it.
How do you know that?
Because it says from urologist Paul Turek, MD.
And he said it's just a brief momentary thing?
Mild momentary discomfort. God, you guys are such fucking babies. Do you know how many times I've had to finish something off because I was...
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Well, it's just, of course.
I'm not going to waste precious moments to like do my counter research now, but no, I will do that on my own time. And when I come back with you're going to come back and like, evidence.
Listen to this Reddit thread from like Bang'em Hang'em 69. Like this is real true life stories. He said,
Bang'em Hang'em? What the fuck is that?
I don't know. Like a serial killer.
Oh God, you just made it worse. No, back it up. Do you want me to edit that out?
I was just looking for a rhyme. Well, it was Wine 'em Dine 'em. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, that is a good Reddit thread. So, no, I wouldn't come with Reddit threads. I would come with like, oh, this is what the Mayo Clinic says about blue balls, you know?
Yeah.
So, put a pin in it, I guess.
Okay. Pop. I don't know.
Were you trying to put a pin in it?
Yeah, and like pop the balloon, pop the balls. Okay.
Hold on. Pop the balls?
Put a pin in it?
Yeah.
People would probably love that.
People? You're looking at one right here.
Okay. Let's get back on track. Let's get out of this land.
I want to go somewhere adjacent, but not sexual, but adjacent gross.
Oh, God. Are you going to talk about the trash can?
Oh.
We do need to talk about
Yeah, we'll get to there too. This is gross. Trigger warning for everybody right now.
Yeah, this whole episode is just disgusting.
Do you remember Ryan Sheckler, the skateboard phenom? When we were like in high school, he had a show on MTV and it was called like
Ryan's World?
Something like that.
No, that's the kid.
I know, but it was something like that.
It was like...
Life of Ryan.
Life of Ryan.
But it was like a thing that became huge.
Yes.
And he was like this like San Diego kid or whatever. And he was like an incredible skateboarder.
Uh-huh.
So he had a real rough time because he had all that crazy fame. Also with that, most skaters hated on him.
How old was he?
He was like 15, 16 when that show was a big hit.
Are you kidding me?
No. And was also like one of the best skaters. But like all skaters at that time were haters on him.
And haters are going to hate if we have not learned anything.
Long story short, this documentary just came out about him that I was like, oh, I'll watch that. And I wish it would dive in more to like all of the crazy background in the show and whatnot. But it really kind of documents more the last 3 years he went through like a pretty gnarly injury and his like coming back. And now he's like 30. He has gone through hell and back and also has the respect of all skaters now too. Like he
Oh,
stuck
wow.
around in a way similar to Tony Hawk. When Tony Hawk started, everybody hated him, was so mean to him. And
Wow.
now he really is truly like the, godfather of skateboarding. But long story short, so it's kind of fascinating. This is all a lead up to say there are multiple like really gnarly accidents he has in this documentary, and one being the one that like kind of starts the documentary in his recovery. But in this documentary, either 2 or 3 times they go into the footage of his surgeries, and oh my God, I have not seen that kind of footage in a long time. And I know there's people out there that watch those shows on, I think there's shows on TV that you can watch.
Yeah.
But 2 thoughts I had. Like, one, it is so gnarly, and God bless the surgeons out there that can stomach and do this crazy work. Mm-hmm. But also, I'm like,
A
how
lot
do
of them
you
are
do this?
psychopaths. Do you?
All right, I'm literally trying to like thank
No,
these
it's true.
people for doing
We
a
need 'em.
thing.
We need them.
We need them big time. Let's not call them out.
Well, no. Listen, if I'm picking a surgeon, and I've had a few surgeons, like, I don't think that they're psychopaths. One of them might be, but I want the psychopath. It doesn't affect them the same way.
Right. Okay, that I can go
And
on.
a lot of, like, we know this, or maybe it's sociopath. I don't know. I think it's sociopath, but become politicians and stuff because their like egos are fed that way. There are also, it's a spectrum. There are people who then become surgeons and are so good at it because it doesn't, like, all of that stuff kind of doesn't, and they're very precise.
You want them very precise. I can make the mental leap of, okay, I understand our bodies are like a car. They're just going into the car to replace the parts. I can sort of do that leap. But when you see
What
it
kind of
on
surgeries
camera,
were these?
I don't know, in the just
Leg
getting in there,
area?
yeah, legs and getting into the meat.
But legs and stuff, that I don't think bothers me that much because it's bones and stuff, right? And muscle, obviously. And
I kept.
it's just
I
like
kept
flesh and
wincing.
bones.
I kept wincing, so I wasn't.
Those
it
are
was
like
gnarly.
appendages, though. Where I get grossed out is like, your torso, like where your organs are.
Just to be clear, appendages. You have no problem with opened up meaty appendages, but if it's your guts and stuff, then you start getting squeamish.
Well, no, I don't like any of it. I mean, I get so grossed out. What we're about to talk about grosses me out. Like, it's one of the things that grosses me out more than anything.
Let's go there then.
Okay. So it's just that you saw something that was gross.
Yeah, and it was something that I liked the documentary. It was
I
all
like
right.
that story of comeback, but it does kind of bring me to going back to the kind of rambling I did about St. Louis recently, and like, what is the point of it all? What is the point of accumulating so much wealth? It's not to say, like, for some people, maybe the point is like, oh, well, I want to build a big house so that my children and grandchildren, everyone can come and feel safe and blah, blah, blah. That's lovely. But there's like almost this sickness, and it's not just relegated to St. Louis. That just happened to be where I was like, oh my God, where it's like whoever has the biggest house, whoever has the biggest whatever, feels like that has bought them a level of respect and love or whatever. Similarly, I'm like craving the respect of your peers who you respect. And it's kind of in line with where I am right now.
Yeah.
Where I'm kind of feeling way more indifferent to, like, right now, and I think you're right, I'm in this weird place, and I love being creative. I will never stop writing. I will always be writing in some way, shape, or form. But as I mentioned, like, I have things about a novel percolating, and very beginning. I mean, I don't want anyone going, when's your novel coming out? Because it's in a decade. But the importance to me of being like, well, I have a show now.
Yeah.
And my peers who I respect and I admire their work and I'm in awe of their art now will respect me, and how will that feel and all of that stuff. I'm now like kind of feeling very indifferent to needing or wanting that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. I mean, getting back to Ryan Sheckler, it is this thing where it's like so admirable. But there's part of you that's also like, but do you still need to do it? What is the driving force? Skateboarding's really interesting to me because, and they speak to this in the documentary, there's like one trick, it takes him 3 years to do it and get it on camera.
Oh,
and they
wow.
show him over the 3 years, keep going, and he has to get it, right? So he keeps going back and back and back. And it ends up being like the closer of the film. And it is a really cool thing. And not about this specific trick, but they talk about other tricks in general, that there is this, it is like a drug when you finally land the thing.
Uh-huh.
But there's a couple skaters in this documentary that say it doesn't last long. Like, and we're talking it lasts 20 seconds,
Yeah,
30 seconds.
totally.
It's so
It's
quick.
fleeting.
But you spent, in this one particular case, Ryan spent 3
3
years chasing this thing.
It makes me think about puzzling.
3 years, countless surgeries, throwing his body into literal harm's way, like could die multiple times. Tell me about the puzzle correlation here.
Well, you've seen me puzzle.
Oh, wow. The 2 or 3 days it takes you to,
No.
to mark it done, to finish off a puzzle?
It's more about the journey. You've seen me finish a puzzle, and I'll go, oh.
Oh, yeah.
And then
you
I
just
put it away.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're not going to like
Admire it, keep it out for a little bit, show it to people.
It truly is such a fleeting thing. And it has to, I mean, I think that's kind of the takeaway here. Whatever we are working towards, we have to enjoy the journey.
Life is meaningless. It's what you're saying.
No, well, yes and no. Kind of like you have to enjoy the journey.
Right.
So if whatever you're working towards, and maybe that's where I'm at right now, where I'm like, this is not enjoyable to me.
Sure.
I'm not enjoying the journey in my writing career in this very moment.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, obviously, journeys have ups and downs and stuff, and I just happen to be in a down. But like, you have to enjoy the journey, or because the summit is never going to feel as good as you think it is.
It's almost like it's not getting blue balls, but it's that moment of blue balls right before is honestly the best part of the whole ride.
Yes.
If you're on the roller coaster, the most fun is right before it starts.
Right.
Because it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
So what you're saying is that all of us girls should just be going around and getting things started, and then
what I'm
going to get a burrito in Santa Barbara when you're in college.
Wow, you just painted a really specific hold on. Just before, so I don't forget, what I was going to say is, no, what I'm saying is my novel is going to be called Blue Balls is the Way. But what you're saying is you just painted a picture of, take it easy with that chapstick over there.
It's like it's yeah, I guess it is colored chapstick.
That's not why I was saying it, by the way. You're just really...
Well, I want to have it on.
You just did like 20 passes. Okay, you just painted a picture. Tell me if I'm right. Who were you hooking up with in this picture? Was it me or was it some guy?
No.
So it's some guy.
College. UC Santa Barbara.
Okay, you're hooking up with the guy.
Yeah.
Dorms or like a weird, gross beach house.
Beach house, gross.
Gross beach house. You guys are getting it on, and then you now have this like spidey sense of like, he's about to splooge everywhere. And so
Gross.
you're like, okay,
kidding.
all right, I'll see you later, bro. I'm going to get a burrito.
Yes. And how much fun. What a life.
And then, and you're also like, you're welcome as you leave the door.
Yes. I took you to the edge.
Do you get, you did, took you to that. Do you get him a burrito?
No. We're parting ways. I'm going back to my place.
Okay.
My dog has separation anxiety, understandably. Because I inherited her from my parents who died one after the other. And then she came with me to college. She doesn't do well with me away very long. And I've been gone for a couple hours. Let's talk about maggots. This was so upsetting. I have to say I've had a really pleasant last few weeks despite this kind of existential career crisis that's been roiling, and then also like things like this happening. Life is
things
so
like
good. What we're about to talk
Oh,
about.
okay.
Take it away, Sammy.
You take it away. You're the one that found it first.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't there for that part.
Okay, so
I had to clean up your mess.
my mess. We have.
Yeah, that's not fair. Sorry.
This is very common in LA. We have mice and rats and stuff. I imagine knitting on a little rocking chair up in our attic. But around this time every year, I start to hear like scritchy scratchies up in the crawl space above our home. Mm-hmm. There's a wonderful service here that we use, although I feel like there's been some employee turnover. I don't need to get into that, but well, it's kind of part of the story, I think. So I still maintain that this is what happened. We don't know yet for a fact, but these guys came and set traps, and then they come and check the traps, and they are also doing like reinforcing around our house. And you still need to trim the tree, by the way, so that it's not touching, like rats.
Which tree?
The one in front. So that rats can't jump on.
Okay.
So you don't want trees within a certain, like, 2 feet of your house. All of the little holes need to be filled. And they put these traps out. Mm-hmm. Well, last week they came and checked the traps, and he said he found 2 rats. And he said they were big guys, too.
That's fun.
So then he leaves. Mm-hmm. And now we also had a hurricane the day before, the tropical storm.
Right.
It had rained a lot.
Yeah.
But I will say, and we got lucky. I know other people didn't fare as well.
Yeah.
But not any more necessarily than like last March when it was raining a ton. I mean, I feel like it was just a heavy day of rain.
Let's stick to the maggots.
So this next day it was nice. It was sunny. Uh-huh. And I think what happened, now the rain factors in too, because it's like maybe it had to do with the rain, but it's rained a lot here before and this has never happened. Basically, I go to throw something in the trash outside. I open the trash. Oh, it just is so upsetting. There are like a million little white squirmy maggots all on the sides of the inside of the trash can, all around the edge of the lid, like a gazillion of them. Yeah. And it was so gross. And there was like it was so disgusting. And I immediately like freaked out. I cannot handle maggots. And they are the grossest thing to me that like exists. And I ran back here and I like told you what was happening. And I was like, you have to go deal with this. Now, it has to be that he threw the rats in the trash can.
There was no evidence. But
he could have thrown them down under something. They could have slopped down under something.
Okay, two things. So I went to check the trash can and could very much confirm the maggots. And they were, when you lift the hinge top up, the underneath of that top was just all maggots.
Were they still all around the edge?
All around the edge, but what to me was grosser was that they were all on the lid underneath.
Oh, God.
But what's weird is I didn't see any rats in there. It just looked like our trash. Now, he could have lifted up our trash and thrown them under. But also, I would have assumed that he would have bagged them before he threw them in.
I would assume that too. And this is why I bring up employee turnover. Because last year, they did throw the rats away in our trash, which I honestly was a little surprised by.
I thought maybe they would take them to go.
I thought they might take them to go, but they bagged them up. It was like air, tight, and threw it in the trash. And I still was grossed out by that, but I was like, okay, I think this guy didn't do that. Either he was lazy.
Okay.
Or didn't have the bags or something.
Yeah.
And I think he did hide them So because then
Oh.
luckily the next day was trash day. And so Andy took the trash out but when I tell you, I've never smelled anything like this from our trash. Post the trash truck coming, the smell for a while around the area of the trash can smelled like sheer death.
What's interesting is I like your theory that maybe he didn't have the bag and he hid them in ours. But I'm not ruling out that it could have just been like something gnarly in our trash and all the rain factor that made
The
my
maggots are like dead flesh.
But
I mean, what are we throwing away?
the thing is, from the amount of time that elapsed between when he would have put them in and the maggots showed up, seems so quick.
No, the maggots were already in that rat.
Oh, you think they were in the rat?
And when he threw it in, the rat
They were trying to
exploded
escape?
and all the maggots came stumbling out.
Well, this is where it gets weird for me, and you didn't experience the rest of this. What I did to take care of them, I grabbed some Lysol cleaner in a squirt bottle. So my thought was, let me just Lysol them out.
You know, squirting's a fallacy.
It actually isn't.
Okay, go ahead. Carry on.
So I spray the shit out of them and think, let me give it a few minutes, then I'll come back and spray them again. I come back like 10, 15 minutes later. They're still creepy crawling around in a way that's like, this Lysol doesn't get you.
They're resilient
They're
little
resilient.
fuckers.
So I spray the shit out of them again. Then it's time to take the trash out maybe 5 hours later to put it out on the curb. And I'm dreading this. So I take them out to the curb. I gotta know, though, what's going on with the maggots. I lift it up. They're gone. There's maybe a few dead ones around the edge of the lip.
What?
Yeah. I look in the garbage can. You would think you would see a ton of them. I don't see them. So I don't know if they either climbed out or if they went all the way down into the bottom.
Ugh. As you were dragging the garbage can out, like you tilt it and you're dragging it, you know, there's a lot of shaking and rumbling.
I think I opened it before I moved it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this was after 2 sprays.
And about 5 hours.
Okay.
So it's really perplexing. The next day, the trash gets picked up. There is that odor you speak of.
Death.
So I want to really clean the trash can. And the weird thing about that is there weren't that many in the bottom of the trash can. Now, the trash can got flipped over, but I would have thought there would have been more. There were some, but the amount of maggots you and I saw, where did they go?
Oh, well, I don't love that.
They're like mutant maggots out in the world because of the Lysol. But then our kids said, don't they all just turn into flies? Which, is that what they did? Did they all become bugs?
Our kids always have I know which kid said that. Great perspective. I am going to ask the guy when he comes back, I'm going to say, hey, did by any chance you put the rats just in our trash can because there were a million maggots after you left?
I can't wait to see you do that.
And I don't like that. And it is so please, if you're going to dispose of the rats, make sure they're in an airtight situation. Yikes.
Can you remember another time that you saw maggots?
No, but it's always, I probably blocked it out. I mean, I know I have. This is the sort of thing that makes me feel like I can't be in this world. Like, I can't be human. I can't handle it. Like, and, you know, knowing that as bodies die and stuff, everyone happens to everyone. Like, the way
maggots
bodies.
On a dead body would be hard to stomach.
Well, that's what happens. It is. It's part of it.
Does that happen when you're buried in a coffin?
It depends on how heavily.
I just got real grossed out.
I mean, I read, you know, I love this book and I recommend it. The book Stiff, which is about.
That you do.
No, it's
Dead people.
Yes, it's all about body disposal. Oh my gosh,
Body disposal?
I'm spacing on her name, but she's such a great author. Hang on. Stiff by Mary Roach. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Gross.
the takeaway is kind of like there's no great way. There's no what we would consider kind of like graceful and lovely way to go. It's cremation. Now there are things like natural burial where it really is kind of maggots and
That's
stuff.
maggot. That's the magic
But
maggot checkbox for sure.
But it's like that's kind of the better way to go because you really are just putting yourself back into
to earth. I like that.
There's body. Now there's human body. What's that called? What's the green bin called?
It's the one where you just huck it in the green bin. The compost bin?
Oh, no, but there is.
Jesus Christ.
Don't put bodies in the compost bin.
That's illegal, by the way.
Yes, don't put bodies in the compost bin. But there is body composting, which is new. There are things like where you can bury your loved one as you, as part of like a tree that you're planting or,
If you're starting the body composting business.
Yes. It's out there.
Do you think this is for someone that sees like a business opportunity, or do they have this weird other? Like, I would love to hear the backstory on the body composting business guy.
Yeah,
it's probably lucrative.
Girl,
you think it's more likely to be a girl?
What makes you think it's a guy?
I don't know, the bodies and all of it.
No, okay, so
You think it's a woman?
And doing the One Sure Thing, the podcast about death and dying, which I want to talk about also. I've like learned more about this world. And there is a movement happening because we're so fucked up about how we, like, us pumping bodies filled with formaldehyde and then putting them in these weird caskets and then in the ground and like hyper sealing them so that the decomposition really isn't natural. It's as unnatural as it can get.
It makes for cool museum stuff later on. Like, think about mummies and shit.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Being mummified is a whole different situation.
Is that an option these days? That's probably super lucrative.
I think it's very expensive. And
That's
also,
why
like,
I'm
I don't know why
saying
you would do it. But, people do all sorts of things. You can be cryogenically frozen. There are all sorts of things. There's a sky burial, which sounds nice. But really what it is like, in certain areas of the world, the body is placed up very high, or like there's this one place that has kind of like a dome built, and so it's like levels of just bodies being put up, and the hawks just come and fucking rip it apart and eat it.
Jesus.
But then they're eating it, and it's kind of like your body's going back to the earth in that way. So
you're saying all these
pretty violent.
Hate to judge these alternative methods, but you're saying most of these like freaky deaky alternative methods are helmed by women?
Especially the composting stuff. I do recall it mostly being, I'm thinking of a specific woman. I wish I remembered who they were and what they did, but yes, mostly women, and it's better for the earth. It's more kind of like a natural, and it also is about our approach to death and dying and how icked out I am by death and this dead thing and maggots and stuff. But, there's my takeaway from Stiff is like, there's some cultures that they pull the dead relatives' bodies out once a year and dress them up. And it's like we're having dinner with grandma for like year after year after year. The bodies are more mummified or like dried. So weird.
That's pretty. That's
to me, but not to shame anyone's culture. I mean, what we do is very weird. So cremation, all that stuff.
Were you the one that asked, or was it one of our kids recently, why don't we see dead squirrels everywhere?
Me. I've looked into it.
Where are they?
Well...
Is that okay that I just asked this? It seemed like...
Yeah, great segue. Yeah. We're going to title this the world's grossest podcast episode or something. So squirrels, I was confused. And this also goes to birds. I mean, sure, we'll see some roadkill every once in a while.
Yeah, but outside of roadkill.
Outside of roadkill, it's like, why are you not seeing more dead birds, more dead squirrels? the animals around that live beside us and alongside us. And so squirrels, it's usually that a squirrel will usually like go back to his little nest to die,
Where are those nests?
like trees or, in nature.
So you're saying all the dead squirrels are up in the trees somewhere?
Yeah. And then birds, similar, although I'm like,
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about at all,
no,
do you?
I did look this up. Have I already forgotten it? Wait, hang on. Wait. Dead squirrels. Squirrels. Okay, why don't we ever see dead squirrels?
Great.
Crows eat the dead animals, including dead squirrels, so it could be they're getting cleaned up.
Okay, so crows are like the cleanup task force, if you will.
Yes, we see more.
They're so goddamn smart and fucking wily, those goddamn crows.
Yeah. Okay. Disease, starvation, and harsh weather are other major causes of death. Where do birds and squirrels go to die? This is great. A major cause of squirrel death is predation. So that's other animals are eating them or, killing them.
Predators.
You won't see those bodies for obvious reasons. The squirrels dying of disease, starvation, and harsh weather are likely to die in their nests or otherwise hidden places.
How creepy would it be if there was like, you went back to a crow's nest and it had like little squirrel heads like mounted, like we have deer and stuff mounted?
Well, actually, it's weird that you say that. This is what I didn't even say this before when I was talking out of my ass because it sounded too crazy. But when a squirrel dies in a nest, the other squirrels who use the nest leave the remains there. The deceased body adds insulation and structure to the nest, so it basically just decomposes and becomes part of the nest. Like the bones become like twigs that are whatever. And
Whoa. I don't think I know what a squirrel nest is. That's one takeaway I'm having.
so they're called drays, D-R-E-Ys. So when a dray is removed, that's what the nest is called. It's not uncommon to find the skeletal remains of more than one squirrel. So that's interesting.
That is interesting. So they're decomposing or
Getting eaten up by other things. How do you want to be disposed of? This is important.
I don't know yet. I'm okay. I think I'm okay with cremation.
Yeah, I think I'm also okay with cremation.
So I'd be fine with that.
I do want like a bench at Descanso Gardens.
That'd be great. I'm into that.
Oh, wait, can we
Could
share?
we have a bench together?
Yes. I assume we'll die together holding hands and, in a bed. So
Like a
I want
craftmatic
I
bed
want to
with
share.
a
I don't know if
adjustable
I've shared this, but this was like the cutest thing that our son.
Oh, yeah.
This was a few years ago, so he was a little guy. But we were walking out around Descanso, which is this beautiful natural garden, and well, not natural, it's very maintained, but it feels more natural than like a highly manicured garden. And there are all these different sections. It's so glorious. It's one of our favorite places in LA. And there are benches throughout with plaques like in memory of blah, blah, blah. And then there's this one kind of little stage amphitheater thing where there are tons of benches for seating, and all of the benches are dedicated in memory of whatever. And so Otis, as a little baby, was like, what are these like plaques on these benches? Yeah. And you said, oh, that's in memory of people who have died. And then like later, so he's processing that.
Yeah.
Later, you get to the amphitheater part where all these benches, and he's like looking at it all, taking it, and he goes, wow, all these people died on these benches. So cute. So I would like a bench. I really like, how would you like to visit me and stuff like that? Or are we going with the we're dying together thing?
Oh, well, I like the idea of if one of us dies before the other, a bench at a place like Descanso Gardens is great because then we can go
and sit
to
there.
A beautiful spot. That sounds great. If we die together, I like the bench too. I'm really coming around to the bench idea.
Okay. And so otherwise, though, you would like to be cremated and what?
I think cremated.
Do you want me to like spread your ashes on a mountain?
Yeah, maybe something like that. But do we also have a tombstone somewhere, or do we not worry about that?
No, I don't think you do.
Okay, great.
You can, though, because my dad was cremated and he's buried with my mom, who is not.
Uh-huh.
And there's a tombstone. which we're going to go see next week.
Right.
So,
Huh.
but I have to say,
Please.
I would rather that there had been a bench in a place like Descanso
Mm-hmm.
to go be like, here I am with my parents. Do I? There is something ceremonial about going to the cemetery. And I'm actually very excited to show the kids because it's their first time in a cemetery. And they are buried at this cemetery in St. Louis called Bellefontaine, which is a historic, beautiful, old cemetery that has incredible like history, you know, historical figures buried. The tombstones go way, way, way back. And I'm excited to show the kids around and kind of like, it's an interesting place also.
Yeah.
But the problem is like, so actually we have plots there for me and my sister. But she and I don't have a connection to St. Louis like that anymore. We wouldn't be buried there because it would be weird for our families to go there to visit us, or you know what I mean? So I don't know.
But maybe also okay, because what if you did have a tombstone there, and then we're also at a bench at Descanso Gardens?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that wouldn't be that wild of an idea.
Okay, well, I'm glad we...
Well, we didn't really get everywhere.
No.
We might want to button this up.
Okay, well, tell me now, and we always can change it. But...
I like the bench idea. I just don't know if I also need
a tombstone?
a tombstone somewhere.
Okay. Well, I mean... I think that if you have ash, you know, some people keep an urn, but like I still have Ruby's ashes on my bedside table. I don't know what to do with them. There's not a place where I'm like, Ruby would love it here. And also it weirds me out like burying her ashes in this yard, knowing that this might not be our house forever and ever.
I like the ashes, like spreading some in the mountains, and then maybe do people bury some of them?
Yeah.
Or do they not when
Well,
you have a tombstone?
If you have a tombstone, yes. I don't think if you don't have a tombstone. But people can do whatever they want.
That's what we're learning. That's what we're learning.
But there are cool things like you can bury it with a tree.
That is cool.
And so then go visit that tree and see that and be like, this is of that person. There are all sorts of things. You can get jewelry made now with ashes. So you're wearing them. You can have... like coral, you can have their ashes turned into part of a like coral structure that's put into the ocean that now grows sea life on it. They're very cool options, but the first step of that usually is like cremation, which is, you know, you're burning up the body at very, very, very high temperatures.
Fire it up.
Fire it up.
Okay. Lot to think about.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone listening has a wonderful day. Good night.
Good night.